And this is our March meeting of the Sewerage and Water Board, and Miss Yolanda. You beat me at it.
Mayor Cantrell,
Present.
Councilmember King, Director Barnes, Director Duplessis, Director Kennedy,
Here.
Director Cole, Director Piccio, Director Sloss,
Here.
Director Howard,
Here.
Director Scholas,
Here.
Director Antrim.
Here.
Thank you so much. And before I ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, I just wanted to make a couple of acknowledgements, if you will. I know that this is our first meeting since we were able to host a Super Bowl in the city of New Orleans, and that could not have happened without a unified and a collaborative approach. And the Sewage and Water Board was essential to the, what I called our Super GRAW meetings that were held at a steady cadence to not only host, but to come out of it better. And I know that we did as a city. So very thankful to specifically our water purification and pumping and power teams that were just all hands on deck. These teams just work tirelessly to ensure that our water systems function efficiently and effectively every single day. Oh, right on time. All right, right on time. And I'm like, who let the dogs out? Yeah, this is good. And so, but the water quality team, again, ensures that our water is treated as relates to meet the needs of our public, health standards as well, and just keeping our residents safe. This is also, I would say, in conjunction to our Hub Grade Center that we were able to bring online, the only one in North America here in the city of New Orleans. But during the freeze events, these teams again work closely in terms of monitoring our water production and pumping capacity. None of this happens without you. And I just want to say on behalf of the board, and you have the board here and all of our, of course, our leadership, to say thank you. The water purification team, Kenneth Hopple, Stephen Ware, Ed Azimas, Alton DeLarge, our pumping and power, Sean DeJean, Sam Lewis, Ben Poole, and Richard Sylvie. Please, just let's give them a round of applause. Pronunciation, you can always get TD straight, so get me straight. But thank you again. And I also wanted to just celebrate our 140th, in terms of 140,000 mechanical meters by the end of 2025. We're on the path to that, and really we're exceeding. So this is a good thing, a real milestone for our utility. I also wanted to just acknowledge that in regards to the South Claiborne Transmission Project. Long time coming, in regards to this, but the project replaced a 48-inch water main, which was originally installed in 1907. Most often when I would do these groundbreakings, I would turn to Ron Spooner. Spooner, give it to me, drum, And he would always bring out the facts, but the work that we're doing is unprecedented. And this is our time, and we're getting it done. But since 1907, over 115 years, and you're gonna tell us that we're not doing transformational change? We are. Thank you all so much. So with that, I also wanted to just mention, God bless you, over 50 applicants, I'm told, and as I keep monitoring the progress relative to our search, applied. That's a big deal. So that means that we know that we're credible, but guess what? Leaders want to be a part of this utility's future. So thank you so much for the leadership of our search committee. We're just wanting to make sure that we always uphold transparency and just making sure the priorities of this utility remain at the forefront of everything that we do. And we can't do it without our people. Our most precious asset are the employees working for this utility. So again, thank you. And with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve. But before I do that, now reminding me, Dr. Scholas, when you ran on in, you reminded me, I know that we're seeking a replacement for your seat. And it's not because you want to run away. It's because you have been in the trenches with us over the years and wanting to say thank you. But the good news, and Robin, I know you're a part of that as well in terms of a board replacement, but you've spent your time being focused and leading this utility to where we are. Now, this is the good news. You all will remain in place until your replacements come. So, so listen, we're gonna stay focused, and we're also hosting, we're hosting an event with many partners around the city, but it's a stand-up and lead. So just going the extra mile with the public, letting them know what opportunities are available for board seats. But again, we can't do this without the public. And so you are representing the public here, and we want to say thank you. So again, the good news, you're still in place until we find replacements, because we have to keep the work going. And you all are essential and credible to that, just essential to that. So Ms. Yolanda?
We need a motion to approve the minutes dated February 19, 2025.
So moved. Moved by Director Howard, seconded by Director Sloss. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, the minutes have been received and adopted, and let the record reflect Councilmember King has joined the meeting. Ms. Yolanda.
And now we have committee reports. The first committee report will be done by Director Barnes, Chair of Strategy Committee.
Very good.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mayor, for those remarks. The Strategy Committee met on Tuesday, March 11th in the Executive Boardroom. The meeting convened at approximately 9, and present were myself, Directors Scholas, Howard, and Antrup. Absent was Director Sloss. Keith Redling, and Henrietta Locklear, and Nora McKinley of Raftellus were actually online presenting the Sewage and Water Board Strategy Committee with a drainage fee update. And as many of you know, Raftellus is the consulting firm that aids governments, utilities, with stormwater utility development, finance, strategic planning, et cetera. Longtime partner of the Sewage and Water Board. Mr. Redling discussed several topics, including the use of drainage fees from a national perspective, which was really interesting, as well as the Sewage and Water Board's goals to change drainage funding and implement a process and tactics for successful implementation. Mr. Redling further discussed how the goals of changing Sewage and Water Board's drainage funding would improve equity without increasing the burden on current tax-paying customers by collecting revenue from tax-exempt properties, acknowledging private investment through a credits program, and providing an affordability program for customers. In addition, Ms. McKinley provided the committee with a demonstration of a fee finder website that could be developed. The strategy members, along with Executive Director Ghassan Corbin, discussed the utility's current millages, potential timelines of how and when to move forward with the proposed drainage fee and implementation. The committee agreed that the drainage fee update should be part of all future strategy committee meetings and asked the Sewage and Water Board staff to gather more information relative to the implementation process for review and discussion at the next meeting. Executive Director Corbin suggested the possible creation of an ad hoc committee that might include external stakeholders as well, that would help with the future development and implementation efforts. There was no public comment, and the meeting adjourned at 9:46 a.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you. A lot of work, a lot of good work, so thank you for that. We have I need a motion to approve the report as submitted.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Anthrop. We need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Director Pacho. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay. Hearing none, so we've officially adopted the Strategy Committee's report, and we'll move now to Dr. Scholas for the Audit Committee.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your kind words. It is my signature honor serving the citizens of District C in the larger city, doing the good work for infrastructure here. The Audit Committee met on Tuesday, March 11th in Executive Boardroom. The meeting convened at approximately 9:49 a.m. Present were myself, Director Barnes, and Director Antrup. Absent members is Dr. Duplessis and Davis Cole. Presentation item, Ed Sutherland, the Chief Audit Executive, gave a first quarter audit department update. He stated the plumbing division audit report was issued and they're currently in the management response period, which will be presented at the Q2 meeting. The plumbing report has also been distributed to all areas of executive management and is within its 30-day period of feedback. Hazardous chemical handling pay and service connections and inspections are done with its planning phase and are now in its testing phase. Mr. Sutherland stated that the response phase will be restarting soon for that. Follow-up review eligibility statuses were presented. The overall review will become eligible for the follow-up according to the date of the longest projected corrective action narrative timeline. The current plan is to begin incorporating these into the audit plan reports starting next year. The 2025 audit plan was presented. Mr. Sutherland reviewed the purpose audit plan for 2025, and the key focus will be on the ongoing bill audits, QA/QC, Act 393 compliance, use of rental vehicles and leasing records, and retention scheduled submissions. There was one action item, Resolution R-058-2025, authorizing the performance of the internal audit plan. That was passed and accepted. There's no public comment, and adjournment happened at 9:57 a.m.
Very good. So we have officially heard the audit committee's report, and we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Barnes.
Second.
Seconded by Director Antrup. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, so we've officially adopted the audit committee report. We'll move now to finance, and that will be Director Sloss.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Finance and Administration Committee met Wednesday, the 12th of this month, and in this boardroom convened at approximately 9 a.m. There were myself, Directors Barnes, Pacheco, Kennedy. Absent was Director Howard. Gray Lewis, our CFO, presented an update on January 2025 financial results and liquidity position. The 2025 water and sewer cash levels, cash on hand, all exceed the minimum monthly targets, which is obviously a good thing. The month was impacted by the snow week, with bill production and meter readings at reduced levels. The revenue was also lower than expected due to customer credits. February's caught up some, but management's going to be monitoring closely due to the changes in estimated consumption being billed. HGI customer credits, which continually for mechanical meters and other changes in consumption in 2025. The first month, the law preventing estimated consumption charges impacted about 9,800 customers of 128,000, and that's estimated to be about $1 million of revenue that's delayed until we get to, until we're not sending an estimate to them. February, January collections were 18 million, roughly both weaker than historical average, and that's because of snow and disruptions. Promise Pay is working well with the one-year anniversary on that, and past due accounts receivables as of end of January greater than 60 days for 64 million, which is 28,000 customers, up 1% over the month before. HGI, which is the arbiter, not the arbiter, which is the ones who judge customer complaints about bills, provided credits of 892,000 on 332 customers during February, which is a lot, but it's still way down in January. The Curo is supposed to set up an arbiter for Sewage and Water Board to go dispute HGI findings, and we think that they're wrong. We have about 250 of those that have been waiting since September 2024. So we're waiting for the arbiter to be set up. Operating expenses were lower than budget, which was conservative. The year-end audit work is now underway, and it's going fine. And we had a resolution to attest to the completion of the annual audit compliance questionnaire required by the state legislative auditor, which we did. We had 2 contract award renewals, 2 contract change orders. There being no more business, we adjourned at about 9:25, which is shorter than my report, it seems like. Anyway.
It seems like. Well, it's a lot of information in there, and particularly around, you said the 9,800 that
9,800 that were estimates we can't bill for.
Right, and that was about $1 million, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Some of it said.
And then the arbiter that is supposed to be put in place by the Curo office,
Right,
is there a timeline associated with that?
not that I'm aware of. And
Okay.
the committee wasn't made aware of that at our meeting.
Okay. Councilman, I know that that is a directive from the council, and you're representing the council on this body. Is there any information relative to Curo identifying an arbiter that would deal with these accounts?
I don't have that information right now.
Okay, okay.
Madam Mayor, I can share what I know of the process. There are a set of arbiters
Right,
that have been selected, and there's an upcoming meeting between us, them, and Curo to establish a process in terms of locations and just the logistics of that. So it's nearing actual commencement, so.
sure. So what's the timeline associated? Because as that grows, then again, we're negatively impacted.
Absolutely. I mean, we have been able to bank the cases that we want to appeal, and the customers have the ability to do so. So we're probably a month away from actual
Okay.
having the process fully executed,
Very good.
completed, and ready to start.
Okay, real good. Okay. All right, well, thank you.
I move to accept the Finance Committee report.
Yeah.
We have a motion to approve by Director Scholas. Seconded by Director Pacho. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, so we've officially adopted the Finance Committee. We'll move to Governance Committee, and that's Director Kennedy.
Good morning, and thank you. The Governance Committee met on Wednesday, March 12th, in the boardroom, convened approximately 10:16 a.m. Present were myself, as well as Directors Sloss and Barnes. Directors absent were Directors Howard and Cole. The Governance Committee of Sewage and Water Board met in executive session to discuss the character, professional competence, and fitness of its executive director, and a strategic approach to develop a process to evaluate the character, professional competence, and fitness of its special counsel and general superintendent. There being no further business to come before the Governance Committee, Director Sloss moved to adjourn, Director Barnes seconded. The motion carried. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 11:14 a.m.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We need a motion to approve the Governance Committee report. Moved by Director Sloss.
Second.
Seconded by Director Howard. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, the report has been officially adopted, Governance Committee. We'll move now to Executive Director. Director Corbin?
Good morning, Madam Mayor, directors. Again, it's always a pleasure being here to give you an update on where we are. And as you know, this is my second last meeting, and I will save many of my remarks for the last meeting. I'm reminded of the time back in 2018 when I was offered the job, and it was about 3 months before I actually started. And just that level of anticipation of what this is gonna be and all that. And I feel like I'm going through the same emotions now, just anticipating what departure is gonna look like, what that last day would look like. I'm definitely slowing down a little bit, kind of letting the leadership team make more decisions on owning things as we go. And I just, if there's one thing I'm so certain about, is that the future of the utility is so good, because I feel like I'm leaving it in good hands with the board, as engaged as you are, and just the leadership team has been just, second to none in terms of just the top quality. So just feeling good all in all, so.
No, and I ran into Gassan at Rouse's yesterday. With my basket turned the corner, I saw this beam of sunlight. I said, hey, Gassan, man, what's going on? I'm like, he was smiling down. I said, the future is bright.
Friendly with the cashier even, so. So I have a couple usual items to update you on, starting with the power complex. Again, it's moving forward, it's tracking, a lot of moving parts. We will host with your, obviously, approval, we will host the April meeting at the plant, so we can have our regular meeting, but also have a tour. I think there's so much to see. I mean, this picture probably doesn't tell it all, but just being there is definitely an awesome experience, and we can beat the heat by being out there and just seeing all the moving parts and all the hard work that's been accomplished. Critical, obviously, to the continuation of the project itself is the DNR and the DOE grant that's moving. It's new to everybody involved, so it's being developed as we speak. Everybody's learning. And our team feels very confident that there's definitely goodwill on everybody's part that it's going to happen. So we're feeling good about that. The other slide I wanted to share with you, and it's kind of new for you. This is something that our team puts together on a monthly basis. And I wanted to point out, and many of you, all of you know, how the power complex functions. You have the substation, which is the source of power of about 60 megawatts. And the actual power that comes out of it is not usable for the kind of technology we have for most of the pumps that we have, for 60 hertz versus 25. So we need frequency changers to be able to utilize that substation. So we have 3 frequency changers that altogether equal the overall amount of the substation, which is 60. And we typically use about 40 at a peak demand, give or take. So what I wanted to share is the sequence of bringing the installation of these frequency changers, the timeline. They're not all happening at once. And the commissioning and the actual testing of those doesn't always happen at once. So just want to share with you that, the first one, the actual commissioning, will happen sometime around May or June, but the second one follows a month later, and the third follows a month after that. So that makes the substation usable for limited fashion for a first month, second month, until the third frequency changer is there. And that brings the redundancy associated with the 3 versus the 2 that we will always need. So just wanted to kind of put it there for awareness, because we've been saying the project will be delivered during peak season. Well, that's why. It's a gradual delivery rather than just one time, because it's just the multiple components that are associated with the project. Any questions on that?
Any questions?
Just want to put it out there and own the schedule for you and for the public. In terms of the lead service line, it's, again, a huge effort. We are a couple days away from selecting a partner, a consultant, and actually a conglomerate of teams that will bring not only project management, they will also bring outreach, public health education, and a lot of needed expertise to allow us to deliver a very, very robust and successful project for the city. So we're close. Hopefully we'll make a decision this Friday. We'll make the announcement, and then there'll be a time for negotiation, and then we'll have a time to proceed sometime late spring. So very, very exciting. In the meantime, we have a small contract out there that is focused on daycares and schools. So notifications have been sent to all suspect buildings or facilities to start the actual testing, meaning exploring what the material looks like, and if it's lead, obviously we're charged to repair it at no cost to the property that's involved. So that's an initial and very key population that we need to focus on and get that out of the way successfully. Oh, just wanted to back up the picture distribution will restart very shortly. Again, we had about maybe 2,000 or more that were distributed, and then we ran out just because popular demand, and we know it's a critical protection piece. It's like the most effective way to protect yourself and your family is using a certified pitcher. If you can afford one, don't wait for us, go get yourself one. If not, we will be starting distribution very shortly. Again, because of the time this project will take, 10 to 13 years. In the meantime, if you have, especially if you have children that are 6 or younger, they're the most vulnerable, use a pitcher. And that's all listed on our website. There are other things that you can do to protect or minimize the exposure.
Right, Poco?
Thank you. I read the material for the meeting. There's a map somewhere of where all the lead pipes are that we can see?
Yes, the inventory compliant with the lead and copper rule have been posted since of October of last year. And if you go on it, you will see 100% certain that your line is lead, 100% that your service is not lead. And there's a huge population in the middle that is unknown. And by law, you have to assume that those are lead until told otherwise. Because if they are lead, obviously the exposure is there. So unless you know for sure, treat it as lead.
Is that the URL right there? SWIT Projects Lead Awareness?
Well, that talks more about the protection tools that you can implement to safeguard against lead that you're in your household.
Thank you.
Welcome. Smart meters, I mean, I get giddy every month. I get the, 94,000, this is, unbelievably high number. Just was started back in March of last year in earnest. So it's really tracking 67% of the population. And I think that number may be slightly higher. It's just getting, installed every hour. Some of the concerns that we have, obviously, now we know for a fact that 31% of the customers have had continuous usage. Now we can track it, we know for sure, and it typically, it's an indication of a leak. There's very few instances where we install the meter, we walk away, and something happens, pressure change or something, it just, the meter starts leaking. In those cases, we will know, especially if it's on the outlet because it's being registered, and we will address those. But it's also showing us there's a lot of, old systems on the private part that, leaks are an issue and have been an issue for years.
Yeah, it's revealing that what we have dealt with on the public side in terms of drainage pipes and things are the same or mirror what's happening on the private side.
Absolutely.
Janet?
And
So we have, basically, a third of the customers look like they probably have leaks from this number. How many of these have been written off for previous bills by HGI on the assumption that we're wrong and they're right?
That's a good question.
I would say a significant number. Here's the issue that the dilemma that we find ourselves in. You have a leak on your property, you're responsible for it. But if I'm not able to read your meter every month and tell you that there's something off, we start owning some of the issue, right? So if it's 5 months, just use and exaggerate now, and of estimates, we don't know what's happening. Some leaks are not that obvious. Then you read and you discover this high volume, and then you do some investigation and you find out that there's a leak.
I know. My question is a different one.
Cross-referencing.
It's
data.
cross-referencing data, because I would be really interested in knowing to what extent this company's been writing off bills that actually are real charges.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
It would be good for us to get
We
that.
need to know that before we meet with them.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
But it's certainly, and we're in a better place where we can identify it with certainty. We can identify it in a timely fashion. I mean, real time. We can tell somebody and we're sending them emails and letters, say, you have an issue, please address it.
Well, that's the good news.
Yes.
That's the
And
good
then
news.
46% are responding. So out of the 30%, you get half of those responding, so now we're down to 15 that goes unattended. So we're inching toward a better situation, so.
And the information that's been sent out to customers has just been stellar, very easy to read. The way that it's presented, it looks, it doesn't cloud your vision, if you will. It's good. It really is.
Just a quick update on billing laws and telling you that we are in full compliance with all the new ones that came about last year, and we're, for the most part, effective January 1st of this year. So starting on the top, the HEI role we just spoke about, they continue to be involved, but you will see the write-offs they're tapering off in a big way. They had a huge numbers at the beginning. Part of it is that it's slowing down, the inflow is slowing down, but also they're learning more that wait, just like you said, Director Howard, maybe we're crediting you something that you actually owe. So there's that learning curve, and then they're becoming a little bit more equipped to say no to some customers. The fixed rate continues to be offered, and people sign on, and the minute they get a smart meter, they come off it. So it's been a good bridge, I guess, bridging tool for us. Arbiters, like we said before, it's imminent. I know it's dragged, to be honest with you. It's taken a long time, but once it's in, hopefully it will be effective for us as well as the customers, because again, we want to do right by our customers, but we also want to protect the interest of the utility. And as of January 1st, we no longer send a bill with estimate on it. Drainage consolidation, we had committed to you that we're gonna hit the ground running. The GS office, spend a lot of time planning and contemplating what needs to be done to do so. So I can tell you, while the money is less amount than what we had hoped for, it's still, a substantial number, and there's 5 different sources for the 18 million. Some are one-time money, some are monthly, because there's 2 from the fair share, 2 pots from the digital traffic camera, and then 1 is a one-time ARPA funding money. So we're in good place that allows us to do something significant and impactful. So far, we cleaned 10 to 15% of the system. I mean, that's the goal, and we're obviously tracking to do that, hopefully with the funding continuing to come in. And ultimately, we want to bring, there's an RFP process currently that will bring a full-time, basically a contractor that will do that, in a more robust way than they're doing it now, with a large contract amount commitment. So far, we've got all 5 trucks from the city. 1 is in the shop going through maintenance, and the 4 are available. Their use of those is limited just because we haven't brought a full complement of truck drivers and operators. So that's being worked on. So all the work that's being done, like the 39,000 feet of cleaning, almost 600 drains, is being done by a private contractor for us. And again, that's, with Steve coming to you and amending a contract and expanding the scope of a current contractor that allows us to keep doing that.
So Ghassan, in this changeover, just remind me, have there been any loss of jobs or transfer of jobs from the city to the agency?
They kept all their staff and they reassigned them to different, because it was a pool of maintenance staff that did multiple things. And so now they're just focusing on other things that they're responsible for and just basically not having to worry about catch basins.
We're actually going to have to hire more employees to.
Oh, we're gaining a significant number of staff that we're building. We're building a unit to utilize the equipment that we have and be responsive to calls, on the daily calls, while we have the contractor. We're talking about do more preemptive and just kind of cyclical work on a routine basis. So we'll have a hybrid system.
So I bring this up because this is one of those things where people assume that we were contracting or losing jobs. And I think this is not a job loss transfer. This is a transfer that actually creates jobs for the agency because it didn't lose any jobs on the city side and it created opportunities on the agency side.
Absolutely.
So that was something that the rumor was people were losing their jobs in this transfer, and that's not true.
No, that's not true, and we're hiring.
We're sharing the amount of debris we're taking just to reflect our approach is paying more in terms of incentivizing the contractor who's familiar with the system to go where the debris is, because that's where the money is. That's where how they're gonna get paid. So based on their assessment, only half of the system really needs attention. The other is fine. So that kind of allows you to be more focused on and more intense on getting stuff done where it needs to be done. So yes, ma'am.
I just want to make a comment, which is, I don't know if it's my imagination, but I feel like I've seen so many more of those trucks out and about doing the work. Whereas there was nothing. for a
Well,
while.
we're
So
sending
it's
them to
really-
you where you live, so we can be more visible. Definitely make it. Yeah.
Like, the work is, you can see it.
The progress.
Fairness, I
Takes
mean,
time.
the city's team was responsible for all sorts of things, from potholes to lighting, street lights to catch basins. They didn't have the focus, and they just were reactive. You know, with Steve's vision and Dave Capel's, you know, they're just excited about owning this. So they're doing everything they can to make an impact. So, yeah, so thank you for the comment. You know, we had made such great progress with pavement cuts and resurfacing, and I would say, suffered somewhat of a setback only because of the snowstorm and some of the cold temperatures where not only we had a huge uptick in more water main breaks that required excavation, now we're creating more areas to be repaired. We were also impeded or prevented from doing work, so that backlog continued to grow. But we're confident we'll catch up. Just want to share that the number is just a little higher than what we had hoped for by now. But just nature of the beast, and it's what we do, respond to Mother Nature and what it brings to us.
Can I just say real quickly on that, I'm probably the most frequent reporter of issues to 5-2 Water. I'm on my phone constantly putting things in. And I've noticed recently, like, the backlog, and like, I'll put in a leak and it's fixed like a week later. And like 2 weeks later, the pavement is repaired, and it's insane considering where we used to be. I mean, I remember I would report leaks like for months or years, and now it's like within a couple weeks, it's fixed. And that's, I want to really credit.
I mean, that's our network's growth.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Folks will, it's easy to criticize, but when you look at, and that graphic, clearly we're not doing repairs in Jefferson Parish.
Yep.
You can see we're offset a little bit, but just, I love this juxtaposition of, I mean, it's almost entirely covered in to where even with the increase, Zone 7 and all of networks, because it's everybody, it's all of the zones, they're looking for ways to not make a cut. So if you don't make a cut in the pavement, if you can do it pulling a service through, I'm really, really proud of that team. They have done an outstanding job.
Yeah, just
Huge
just
improvement.
yesterday, I asked Steve, you know, outside the payment cuts, we have the work order. I mean, anything that you're referring to, anything that we get calls on, and say, how are we going to measure success? And he said, by being responsive within 2 to 3 weeks versus months, right? And he's inching toward, we're not there yet, but that's going to be something he would probably proudly report to you at the end of the year. So it's just, yeah, things are
You see,
happening in a very, very good way.
Yeah.
And the last slide, somewhat of a downer, to be honest with you, and I'm very, very, very disappointed. I feel like it's a personal failure on my part. I've been promoting this effort probably since, say, day one. I brought a small HR company that helped us kind of understand where our weak points here are, and then from there, the idea grew is that can we maybe explore a new model that gives us independence and autonomy and just allow us the flexibility to control our own destiny. But we also made a promise to our employees that it's being done for them because we feel strongly that it's a better option. It lets us explore it. And we did a survey that we just concluded last Friday. We did the tallies yesterday. And unfortunately, we failed to convince people that it's the right thing to do. So there was a lot of opposition to move forward with anything. I'm disheartened, to be honest with you. I'm disappointed.
I guess two questions.
Yes, sir.
The initial question would be, what actually, what determination was made in terms of why they may have rejected that people plan? And what really now is the plan to move forward?
Yeah.
Because this is still a critical issue.
Yeah, great questions. What we heard is that, there's still this, people are always concerned about change, right? And where we're changing to is still an unknown, even though you can picture what it looks like, more flexibility, more ability to reward folks, and a lot of improvement that civil service currently exists, and a lot of our employees don't like the way they have to maneuver it. Well, we said, let's give us a world where you can earn higher pay, you can earn ability to be promoted, and a lot of good things that come with that. And they like the protection, and they're afraid of the unknown. Even though what we have asked them is that just the permission to create that model. There was no hard commitment that we're going to do it. We said we will come back, and then you vote again with a more concrete plan. But again, people are just, they don't trust what the future might look like.
No, they don't. And then we also have to factor in the external influences, the political culture, the narrative about our utility. All of that impacts the people that we depend on that do the work. So these are the folks at the end of the day are impacted far greater.
Yeah.
And I could understand them being afraid.
Yeah.
Because we create that climate, unfortunately, external from the utility. But I also believe it is a perfect opportunity to really focus on the human resources side, getting an effective leader in that spot, in that space for the utility, for the long term, to begin to connect the dots and where they feel that they can trust the system. And then I would also say, as we're getting closer to a transition in government, all of these things factor in. And when you talk about employment, absolutely you're going to kind of steer on the side of where you are safe.
Yeah.
And with the unknowns, Poco?
I've been involved with this since the outset of it as a director, not in the other way, but I'm profoundly disappointed. I saw this as an opportunity for the employees to be able to possibly earn merit pay, have raises, more flexibility, most importantly, have input into the design of what the HR program would actually be. They would design what they would then work within. So profound disappointment is about the only thing I can say. I think it's just a huge missed opportunity. And
Yeah.
sorry
So-
for all the work that went into it, resulting in this. So I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be more disappointed than I am, and it's just a missed opportunity for sure. But to answer your second question, we've learned a lot from this initiative because we interacted with our employees on many levels at many occasions. And there are a lot of things that, independent of civil service, that came about in terms of shortcomings or things that need improvement. And we made a commitment that we're gonna make a focus. Again, we had a meeting yesterday with the leadership team, and we made a commitment to ourselves that we are gonna focus on those areas, and whether it's recruitment, a lot of things that we can control independent of where we are. And we're gonna obviously bring a better environment for our employees because they deserve it.
Director Howard?
I hope, and in fact, I'm making a request that that plan be put in writing and presented to the operations committees, because I think this is a board issue as much as it's an internal issue. I mean, it's a huge factor when you've got 1,000 employees to make sure we have the right system in place. And so I'd like to get something that outlines where we're going, a timeline, and who's doing what, so we can monitor that.
Okay. I think that's
And, just to piggyback on that, this is something y'all know I've been harping on communication since I came on the board. And this is, I think, our failure in this situation was a failure to communicate.
Yeah.
We have had very challenging leadership in human resources. We've had some turnover in that position. And as such, our champion when you talk to the civil service office has always been a new person or someone that's just learning. And having been on a call with both of those people, the civil service people ran circles around our people. And so when you have a situation where the person representing us, civil service, to get things moved forward, can't explain the case, like why our audit person needs to be an exempt employee, because that's best practice with the audit process that we're told, but we can't make that happen with civil service. That's a communication issue. And so I really want to make sure that we don't just write this off as a disappointment, but look at this as the disappointment is based on our ability to talk to people, meet them where they are, and explain where they need to go.
It's a combination.
Yeah.
I agree.
And another, again, to answer your question, there's two parts. One, we control, and we're gonna focus on improving things where we can. The other thing is, we have really no control or influence unless we initiate something, which we said we will not do without the employees' support, is that the legislators can do whatever
Oh, yeah.
they feel they want to do.
Absolutely. I think that's the missing piece
yes.
to all this, but that's again going back to that political climate piece. It's
Right.
it's there.
So I want employees to know that while we may not take initiatives here, we have no influence or control of what the legislators may or may not do. I just wanted to share, like just last year, there was an effort to take some positions in state employees out of state civil service completely, and that effort failed by like 1 vote, I believe. So there's or 2 votes. There's nothing that would prevent that author of that bill to introduce it again. There might be a better environment for that today than last year, and they could focus on us. I want employees to know that it's beyond our control.
Okay.
So, I hate to end on a somewhat of a unpleasant note, but barring any questions, that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Director Kennedy, Nicole? Okay. Hearing none. Okay, so we'll move forward. Ms. Yolanda.
Yes, so now we have Resolution 59, 2025, and Resolution 60, 2025, declaration of the vacancy on the Board of Directors for Council District C and the Consumer Community Advocate.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the resolution that has been presented regarding the vacancies on the board.
So moved.
Moved by Director Sholem, seconded by Director Barnes. With no questions, all in favor?
I have a question. Can I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
My comment is that I hope that all the legal things that need to happen in posting this happen, but that we go above and beyond and really think about this as an opportunity to really have a campaign around these and future positions that come up and really, and I know it's challenging and we don't get a lot of applications, but I think we can do a better job at really promoting the opportunity. Not just sort of the legal, this is the slot that's open, but being part of the solution, get it out to our networks, get it out to the community, and, be successful in getting lots of applicants in.
Yeah, and I would say that you can always do better with going deep, and this goes into what I mentioned about the event that's being held in
Exactly.
regards
Yeah.
to boards and commissions. But I also have to say, listen, a part of the orchestration, the negative from discrediting, disrupting all these distractions, it has a negative impact on the utility. Like, we cannot overlook that.
Yeah.
So while we talk about communicating, I believe that that's happening. But it's also in terms of the orchestration around discrediting the utility, it works against us. And people do not want to subject themselves to the climate sometimes that has been created. That is a fact. And we have to own that. We really do. So I think that we can do, and however you all want to recommend we go deeper, make those recommendations and let's do it. But, it does have an impact.
Absolutely.
It really does.
Yeah.
So with that, Ms. Yolanda?
Yes, now we have 6 corresponding resolutions for approval. Resolution 59, 2025, Resolution 58, 2025, Resolution 39, 2025, Resolution 31, 2025, Resolution 41, 2025, Resolution 28, 2025, and Resolution 29, 2025.
Okay, and we can adopt them in globo?
Yes.
All right, so we need a motion to approve the. All right, Director Scholas has made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Director Kennedy. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, so we've officially adopted those corresponding resolutions. Ms. Yolanda?
And now we'll need a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 4217A1 regarding the executive director and Louisiana Revised Statute 4217A2 and 4217A10 regarding the special counsel and general superintendent.
Okay, very good, thank you. We have a motion made by Director Pacho. It's been seconded by
Second.
Director Scholas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, executive session. come out of executive session. It's been moved by Director Sloss,
Second?
seconded by Director Scholas. All in favor? Aye. Aye, the ayes have it. We are now out of executive session. Ms. Yolanda?
Okay. We have information items for your preview, and review, and we have no public comment. And Mayor, we are now ready for adjournment.
All right, so a motion to adjourn? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye, meeting adjourned. This was a great meeting. Thank you all for
Thank you.
everything you're doing.
Great.